Oh, welcome.
Hey, everybody.
You keep doing it. This is the second time you've done that.
Done what?
You do the interrupting thing. You know, we do that in our actual intro.
No, we're just saying hi.
We're saying hi.
Yeah, we are. At the same time.
Today we had Noah Schreibman on, who's a promoter, booking agent, manager based out of Tallahassee. He's also the CEO of 42 Recordings. And
an amateur artist therapist, apparently.
Yeah, it's kind of cool listening to his perspective on the job description of being a manager and agent, and it was a fresh perspective. I thought
A managent.
Yeah,
new word.
A managentist.
Managentist.
He's a therapist,
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we talked a lot about that. We talked a lot about
EDM, electronic music.
A lot of EDM,
the
electronic
good
music,
stuff,
the
you know
good,
what I mean?
as Billy likes to call it. And he talks a lot about the work that he's been doing on the promotion side.
Trying to build up Tallahassee back to its heyday.
Yeah.
To the time of dubstep. Skrillex.
Yeah. So I don't know. I thought it was a really interesting conversation for me. It's such a different dynamic than what I'm used to. And I always love hearing about how the different niches in the industry operate. So I thought it was a lot of cool perspective.
It was a good episode.
Yeah, for sure. So if you're into some great conversation and a lot of great information, this is definitely the episode for you. So tune in. Make sure you check out everything that Noah's got going on. Noah Schreibman, again, is his name. And enjoy the episode.
Bottom of the bill starts now.
This is Bottom of the Bill, where we talk about the modern grind of a musician.
Album cycles.
Hold on, Bill, give me a second, man. Because we don't know what we're talking about.
Spotify playlists.
You keep interrupting me. That's not how we discussed it. Just give me a second, man. We invite established artists
Festival lineups.
Can I just get my stuff out real quick? We invite established artists on to share their strategy to success.
Marketing strategies.
The premier do-it-yourself podcast.
Hashtag DIY.
Ah, screw it. This is Bottom of the Bill.
Noah, I always love doing podcasts with people that we've never met before, because it's always interesting.
You never met this guy?
No.
He seems like a great guy.
No.
Seems like we've known each other for a little while.
Yeah,
I know.
You just I think you messaged me one time, just kind of commenting on the podcast or whatever, and then I was like, who is this dude? And then from Tallahassee or something, and I was like, and I looked up who you were, and I was like, oh, you got a lot of cool shit going on. Maybe you should come on our podcast.
Nice.
So glad it worked out.
Yeah, so I listened to the Paul Levine podcast. I saw it was posted in the Halloween page.
Yeah.
And, I'm a really big Halloween fan. And, Paul's been a huge inspiration, obviously, for everything I've been doing. So then, just to show respect, I was like, oh, yeah, I really enjoyed the podcast, because I really did. It was really fun, and I feel like you guys had a good dynamic going, so I reached out, and yeah, here we are today.
Hell yeah, man. Well, thank you for listening and supporting what we're doing, and for coming on and talking about what you got going on,
Of course. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, man. So I'm curious, let's talk about just kind of first the company that you're the CEO of, is 42 Recording.
Yes, 42 Recordings. So that's an agency that I run out of Tallahassee. Currently, I have an agent in Gainesville, Florida, and then I'm having another agent join that's in Denver, Colorado. I almost said Florida. So, yeah, it's more of a grassroots agency compared to what you'll see in a lot of EDM. But, yeah, that's kind of what I'm passionate about and what I've been working on pretty hard for the past, I would say, year and a half now. And I've learned a lot along the way. Everything's been a learning experience. But yeah, I can expand more on how it started if you'd want to hear that.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So I went to school here in Tallahassee and started going to local EDM shows. That led to me really getting into like more of that heavy EDM, which then led me to Bonnaroo 2018. I decided to volunteer for my first festival ever.
That's a hard one to get into.
Wow.
Yeah. I said, let me go to a farm in Tennessee for 7 days because I'll be fine. By day 5, I was like on the phone with my mom. I was like, you got to get me out of this place.
Yeah.
You don't know what these people are like.
Yeah.
But when I thought about the financials of paying for it, I was like, you know what? 2 more days won't be too bad. So
because they do that,
ended up,
they take money from you first and they give it back to you, right? So you don't just like steal a ticket. I volunteered a couple of times at Swanee. That's how they get you.
That's smart.
No, yeah, it's very smart because otherwise, like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna volunteer. Okay, come find me.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, I'm glad. Yeah,
So-
you stuck it out.
So yeah, I did Clean Vibes. If you know Clean Vibes, they do recycling and composting at festivals around the country. It's a really awesome program. So I did that. I got back, wanted to do more festivals, obviously. Found myself at Halloween 2018 and had like the time of my life. Never felt so inspired. Just couldn't even believe my eyes. Mostly saw Tipper, my favorite artist, for the first time, and yeah, it kind of, I don't know, it woke something in me that was like, I was studying environmental policy, and I was just like, I don't really know if I want to do anything in this realm anymore. Something about music and festivals really was sticking out. So it was within 2019 that I met my friend Jonathan, who was producing under the moniker Sufed. And we met, and I had been DJing at the time, and I was always interested in possibly producing music. And, you know, we became close. At one point, I was like, hey, could I ever come over and learn how to produce? So one time I was heading back home from Boynton Beach to Tallahassee. I stopped there and went over his place and started playing around in Ableton. And realized that I did not want to do that.
Not be a DJ or producer.
Yeah, like, I mean, DJing is not that bad, but when I started like really looking at the process of producing in Ableton, I obviously still am drawn to like opening it up, but I've just got way too much going on to like spend like 3 hours on a loop that is not getting any better because I don't know any music theory. So it was about maybe half a year later that I spoke to him about wanting to manage him and his project, which was quite ignorant, to be honest, at the time.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of that typical like friend wanting to manage a friend just because. But I'm glad I did because from there I learned so much, and you know, I'm really grateful to Jonathan for allowing me to create the project, which is known as Collective Unconscious. We got to build it together, and it was a huge learning experience on how a project starts. And then from there, we started getting, you know, him. This was during COVID, right? So we started getting, you know, virtual EDM festival gigs. We had to work with visual artists, which was a whole new thing. And as we kind of left COVID, that's when at Resonate, was it 2021, I would say?
Resonate, that's that
Yeah,
festival in Charleston, right? Or,
No, that was... Yeah, no, it was in Swanee. So Resonance
oh, sorry,
is
yeah.
in Charleston.
My bad.
Yeah. they're both by Essential Productions. But then they do Resonate, which is a smaller version of it in Swanee.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not confusing at all in the emails and.
Yeah, right.
Not at all. Not at all. And literally when you said that, I was like, wait.
Yeah, right?
Did I say the wrong?
No, I know.
Did I say the wrong one? But yeah, it was there that I met the second artist I started representing, Arcturus, who is out of Arizona. And from there, I started learning how to kind of handle a bigger artist, and kind of seeing, the dynamics of the industry at even like a bigger level than the artists I had, which within EDM, it's pretty, I wouldn't say cliquey, but I would say, who matters in electronic music big time. It matters in every genre of music, I would say. But I guess I'm under the opinion that in certain areas with bands, quality, like people booking bands are looking for quality. And with EDM, it's more about hype and what name will sell the most tickets.
Totally.
So I started representing Arcturus. And then I would say it was about 4 months after that a friend in Tallahassee, who's also a producer, he goes by Language. We had always talked about working together, but nothing seemed to really line up. And he told me to reach out to his agency, Sounds Organic, which is in Providence, Rhode Island. I'm sorry if I'm skipping places.
No.
And I spoke with Phil Policelli, who runs Sounds Organic in Rhode Island. And I guess my main question to him was, I find myself struggling right now with being an agent for these artists. And I kind of understand the dynamics of what I'm lacking, in many areas, whether it be my own personal faults, and also like the faults of just having smaller names in general. And I said, I want to take on more artists. I don't want to overload myself with so many artists that I'm drowning in work. But I also have the feeling that having bigger artists and more artists will increase the network that I have within this industry. So that, for Jonathan, who's a smaller artist, people might see the email and just, okay, I've been in positions where I have emails just come in and I want to read them all, but there are a ton coming in. So, I kind of understood that dynamic on the other end, that if you don't know a name, why would you want to book it? That's a basic sentiment. So, I spoke with Phil and he mentioned to me that, hey, I think that your answer is yes. You probably should look into taking on more artists if you can. Definitely find your time management within that. And also, would you be, willing to join Sounds Organic as well? I have a few artists that I would love to have you represent. He was planning a festival, Nocturnal Function, which was up in Massachusetts. And he was just extremely busy with that. So he was hoping that I could take on a few of his artists. So I started representing 3 artists there, Phalo, Research Chemicals, and Language, my friend. And then I was also doing full festival outreach for all the artists on that label.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's a lot,
I was doing quite a bit.
I want to interrupt you real quick because I'm
of course.
I'm really curious about your kind of trajectory and how you got from just wanting to manage one of your friends to all of a sudden working with this agency. It's representing artists all around and bigger names and that kind of stuff. So I kind of want to go back and say or just see about the kind of things that you were learning, like when you took on a job, maybe a little naively, and then that got you to the understanding of like, oh, I think I can take this next step now. Like
Yes.
certain things that you kind of like, whatever, like artist relations stuff, or just, how you handle, working with talent buyers and promoters and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say the earliest lessons were definitely how to build a schedule for artists that they can manage. That's more in the management aspect. How to help them be productive as a producer. It's just one person with electronic mostly, which, is just like any, I work a full-time at-home job. I can find myself dozing off completely all the time. So, whereas a band has like other people to really hype you up and like, hey, we got to do this. It's like you're your only hype man. So I was really trying to figure out proper schedules, how to keep my artists productive, build release schedules for them, make outreach, lists for labels that we could reach out to, things like that. But then at the same time, I was also, getting help from friends who had, let's say, contracts from other agencies, or I would just research like typical contract, typical offer sheet, typical rider. And I would build my own, by myself. And then once I joined Sounds Organic, and then I was also building my own outreach sheets, I forgot to mention. So I guess one thing I would do is I would find an artist that I believe was quite similar to the artist I was representing. And I would go on their Instagram and just scroll down all the way and look at every single promoter and venue that they played for and made like a Google sheet, found their emails. So it's a lot of, I constantly, I guess, talk with my artists about how with a full-time job and with getting into it, starting with COVID, and also not trying to be like a social media aficionado, like always on social media. People are always sharing my stuff. Like, I don't want to be that guy. I want to make sure that like I'm focusing on the work rather than like social all the time. I find that is a struggle of mine, which is if you can't be at a festival every week, you're not going to meet as many people. But at that same time, I kind of realized also a sentiment of, and this was something I learned at my past job at a lobbying firm, which is, pester people because like sometimes they'll be happy that like you bring it to the top of their inbox because they never would have seen it before.
Totally.
That is true. That's kind of my philosophy too. It does work eventually. But yeah. I was wondering, so like you started out very small and on your own, of course, and so you're researching the hell out of anybody that you can find. So what are you looking for when you're researching? You know what I mean?
So obviously, for ideal shows that I could get my artists on, I want a proper, I hate using this word, but a proper vibe for a show. I want to make sure that, at least in Florida, I know of a few places that people could play that, may not pay well.
Yeah. Or may not pay at all because you got shitty promoters.
Exactly. So, to weed those out, yeah, I do that. I'll still reach out to them, and if there's no way to get a deal from them, then there's, no way to get a deal from them, and that's obviously been a struggle too, finding the dynamic between what my artists value their art at and what people want to pay them for.
Right, yeah.
Hold on, I'm trying to remember the exact question. So
Yeah, like what were you looking for in an artist? Like when you were first starting out, as you got your friend that you're representing, and then
so for artists, what artists?
Yeah.
So mainly, I'm looking for people who are innovative in their styles and stick true to what I feel is at heart, what they want to make. Within EDM, I feel like a lot of people just hop on trends and find themselves in a studio 5 hours a day trying to replicate someone's style that they heard and never find themselves saying, like, well, what do I actually want to make? So that's really what I'm looking for in an artist. I also obviously have personal tastes that I prefer. It's not that I'm saying if you don't make that style, I would never consider, like, if you reached out to me.
But it's like it's easier to sell though if you love it too. You know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah. And so I would say the majority of what I'm representing is what would be labeled experimental EDM, and a bit of it can like wander into what's known as Psy dub or within a Psy realm.
Yeah.
And that, that Psy sound is something I'm a huge fan of. And
yeah, you love Tipper.
I feel
like 100%.
Well, even Tipper would, I guess, within his newer, what he's been performing recently and more of what his shows have been putting on is more what would be described as neuro.
Oh.
So neuro, like, sound design. And whereas, like, the Psy realm is kind of like OTT, if you know OTT.
Oh, yeah, of course.
OTT.
Yeah.
So, I feel like within, this might be emotionally based, but since COVID, I feel like that entire realm has taken kind of a hit because people have gotten way more into that neuro kind of techie sounding style and more of what I guess would be described to some people as like spiritual-esque or just Psy and like more like world inspired music has taken a bit of a hit. And I really want to be a voice bringing it back. I obviously love both realms, but I really, really, really love art and that style and that realm. And if we can, or if you look through my roster, you'll see a few of those like Living Light and Arcturus. I also work with an artist, Phalo, Mindex. They all really encapsulate that style. It's way more, I wouldn't say way more musical because I don't want to insult the neuro realm, but in certain aspects it can be more musical and keyboard based and music theory based, which you don't really need music theory that much within electronic if you don't know it. So
you're looking for an artist that fits that original sort of creative, like to the heart, to their own like style, not trying to follow somebody else's kind of vibe. And then once you're talking to them and you finally got their attention, what do you offer them? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So my main offering, that was a weird way of saying it, but mainly I offer agency work. As I've taken more artists on, and kind of dealt with more artists and seen what works and what doesn't, I found that having a really hands-on management style isn't always helpful.
Sure.
And like they can often go against the grain, as with any job, but as I'm growing it up and as I'm building the team and as I find myself becoming way more comfortable, I really want to go back to, I guess, my roots, even though it's only been a year, and go, really go back to like, hey, let's get you a release schedule going. Let's stick to it because I want you to be successful and look at this as a job. and, at that same time, almost be, I say this jokingly all the time, but almost be a therapist to these artists, because a lot of it is self-doubt and saying, like, oh, this person is like getting all these bookings and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, well, you don't know their life, what they're doing, what the offers they're getting are. And if you value your art at this rate and people don't want to book you at that, then let's get content out there so that they will. And you can do, your 9 to 5 in the meantime, until you feel like, hey, things are working out well. My followers have gone up like crazy. People are starting to offer me that more. And then, I feel exponential from there, as with all music, more and more people share your music, and, the word gets around. On top of that, obviously, as they get bigger, working to build up merch and, like proper social media outreach, I really want to start bringing in people for that, as I don't feel, like I said, I'm not a social media genius. And I don't, honestly, like I said, Tipper's my biggest inspiration, and his entire social media presence is none.
Right.
So, that's a big inspiration to me as well, because I don't think that you should have to be a social media star to be taken seriously as a musician.
Well, especially it seems like in like the world of EDM, where it's more of like, I feel like releasing music is probably the thing that gets more attention than anything in that realm. And when it comes to like bands and stuff, there's we have like album cycles, and there's all these deadlines of like how you release music and what timeline and all that kind of stuff. And there's always a struggle with the whatever the quote unquote suits, or like the agents and managers trying to get their artists to follow these deadlines and so they can do their job properly. Do you notice, because it seems like the album cycle thing is probably a shorter lifespan. Nice, Bill.
What's up?
Probably a shorter lifespan in the EDM world. I feel like there's a lot more singles being released, and it's a lot more of like, we got to do it, maybe every month or 2 months we got to be releasing this, versus, an 18-month album cycle for bands and stuff. So how do you keep your artists motivated, and do you ever notice pushback from the artist on trying to hit those deadlines?
Yeah, absolutely. And that kind of circles back to the problem psychologically,
right,
with being a solo artist. And at the end of my bio, I kind of listed out what music I like, and anyone that knows me will tell you that I'm a big album person. I really, really don't know, like, I couldn't tell you many individual track names, but I could name an album.
right.
And it's something that I wish EDM would get into, but I know it probably won't, because it's like a younger generation's music.
And they're all about remixing and stuff like that. And so, like, the quicker you can get one single out, like that's it for electronic music. But it is so annoying on Spotify trying to listen to like all of one artist's music at the same time. But yeah,
Imagine, yeah.
Bukashay does a really great job at coming out with albums. I really like them a lot. I don't know if you do, but that's kind of my style of electronica. Is
Let me spell
the
it.
house music, minimal house, that kind of stuff.
How you spell
Different
that?
rules, though. Don't get me wrong. I've been listening to since like Buka, Booka, Shade. Yeah. Somehow use your agency work to get them from England to here. That'd be great. Specifically in the 904, and I would lose my mind because they're incredible.
I'll keep you updated.
Thanks,
but
dude.
yeah, I think something that gets a bit disheartening about it is that there's such a passion behind electronic music. It's pretty much, I don't think passion for music ever fizzles or dies out, I think it's the same passion in the same amount, but it's now expanded over so many musicians.
Right.
And that's led, along with social media culture and TikTok culture, to like your brains can't handle an hour of music. It's like, okay, I get it, and especially even sometimes I'll be listening to, let's say, drum and bass or like in the neuro realm, and some of it, it might be a 10-track album, and I'm like, yeah, I also get it, because it's like very repetitive in certain ways, and it doesn't have the same flow that you want out of like a metal album or out of a rock album or an alternative album. So, that's something as well that if I can have a big voice in the future of this community, I want to bring back, because yeah, if you have that passion, like whatever happened to being able to sit for an hour while you're doing work or while you're doing something and listen to someone's brain for an hour and exactly the story they wanted to put forth to you for that hour. So that's what kind of leads to this culture of just singles, and certain people are just like okay and content with like a song, which I know there has to be a balance between like, okay, this song is like not done yet, and this song is done,
and like get it out as quick as possible. That's like the whole vibe of EDM, in my opinion.
Exactly. But some artists, and I would say more of the underground experimental artists that I work with and am acquaintances with, struggle immensely with self-doubt. They'll be in a 8-bar loop for like 5 hours and change it so much from what sounded good to what sounds so extreme and off the edge that it's like, well, were those 5 hours actually productive? Did you do anything to help yourself?
Yeah.
or did you just waste 5 hours? So I say this a lot, but within this realm and within what I want my ideal management style to be is to have a balance. Like even within, I'm having my friend Vince, who produces under the moniker Feng Shui, and he also.
How do I know that? I've heard that before for sure.
It means like how you arrange your furniture.
Okay, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
I was gonna say.
I know the artist.
Also, like, what's your favorite electronic album, like full length album?
There's no way I could answer that because I'm not a big EDM guy, but I am fascinated by the genre and how that kind of sect of the industry works, because it is, although there's definitely paradigms that still exist, I think, that permeate every genre of music. Like every niche kind of has its own way of like navigating it. So it's always interesting to me how EDM does that. So anyways, continue.
I was going to say my favorite though. That's all right.
No, yeah, say your favorite, Bill.
Let's hear it.
This is your interview. Anyways,
no, I'm just saying. We're just talking about music.
Yeah.
This is all this is. Vitalik, OK Cowboy. Have you ever listened to Vitalik before?
No.
No?
Let me check it out.
Billy's a bit of a boomer. So.
I love that French house music. He kept on going and everything like that, but yeah, I think that came out in like 2003 or 4.
Oh yeah, Jesus Christ, Bill, what are we doing here, bro?
Yeah, and it's so like above its time or ahead of its time and everything like that. Anyways.
So
sorry.
I'll check it out.
I get excited. I'm going to talk about electronic music a lot on this fucking show. It's mostly jazz.
Yeah,
and
I swear
Herbie
to God,
Hancock.
I'll check. I love Herbie Hancock.
Yes, don't we all?
Who doesn't?
They just released like a 50 greatest hits or something, and I thought it would be like maybe 30 minutes, and I was like maybe an hour in and realized it was an 8-hour compilation.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
one Herbie tune's like half an hour.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man.
Well, no, it was like 5-minute tracks, but there were like 100 of them.
Oh, word. Good for him.
I was like,
and it keeps going. He was just here a little while ago.
Yeah.
For free.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll check both
Buka
I can't
Shade.
even read.
Buka Shade and
Buka
Vitalik.
Shade, yeah, I will. I probably sound like Gen Z as fuck.
No.
But yeah, my friend Vince, Feng Shui, will find out how you're connected. He knows a lot of people in the state, but he runs these shows under Alchemy Productions in St. Pete with my friends Josh, who DJs under Brother Bear, and my friend Nico, who DJs under Nico the Alchemist.
I've heard of that name for sure too.
Yeah, Nico produces as well. I've actually had him come on, and I'm going to have him speak with all my artists to help from a producer's point of view about like the technicalities of their music and take a listen, and as well help a little bit in the management. He made like a list that he's going to go through, so he'll ask them like, what got you into this, and kind of refresh their mind on like, okay, where were you when you started? Where are you today? What are your goals from here on out? So that, like a few years from now, we can look back and say, remember this, and like, look at where you are now. But, when it comes to the listening, to their works in progress, I conceded that I don't know technical musical terms all the time. And this is going back to the what I was saying about balance, which is that given that, I am a listener,
Just about to say.
So, so to find the balance between what a producer will tell you technically is wrong with the track, and then what someone who's a listener will tell you. And like when I listen, I'll listen on my clip system here in my house. I'll listen like on my computer speakers that are not that good. I'll listen on my phone. So I can like hear from every point of view, what it sounds like. Because to say that someone is always going to have studio monitors in front of them to hear your music and be like, oh my God, that one part in the low end, like that's quite ignorant. So
totally.
So that's like a part of the balance I'm trying to bring to these artists to help them, and especially within a niche realm, to have someone that isn't a producer, let's say, because producers could hear like the sound of a fart, and if it's like well tuned, they'll be like, oh my God, like, how did you EQ that?
Yeah.
Like, that's but like,
that's what
you'll
I was gonna say. That's what I wanted to. I forgot about that app that I wanted to make. That's gonna be like revolutionize producers, which called Uber Mix, and it mixes all of your songs to format onto any speaker.
There's kind of a app that does that called eMaster.
Damn it!
Yeah,
it's so way better name.
Late, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, so you're kind of late to the game on that.
Damn
one.
it! I had that idea 2 years ago. I'm suing. That's intellectual property stealing right there.
Yeah, I often come up with ideas like that. Like, I came up with an idea for actually, maybe I shouldn't say it because it hasn't popped off that big yet.
Listen, but no one's listening to this podcast.
Hey, that's not true.
I'm just joking.
Hey, I saw your TikTok following, so
whatever.
I
mean,
no big deal.
No big deal or whatever.
1,500 followers overnight.
Just fucking blowing up in 3 days. No big deal.
Not a big deal at
creating
all.
viral sensations.
Just a household name
here.
now, whatever.
All you gotta do is piss the boomers off. They get real.
I don't know what
excitable.
happened. It doesn't make any sense. But speaking of greatly produced music, you want to do the Billboard tough guy?
Yeah. I wanted, before we do that, Noah, I know you were in the middle of a thought, but I want to say, because I do want to get to the next section, your perspective on managing and representation as a whole is so refreshing. Can I just say, because like we've had managers and agents on in the past, and it's always a great conversation with them. But nobody's really had the perspective that I think that you've had, and you made some great points about like the therapist aspect of it, and about like just really trying to keep your artist motivated. And that's always stuff that I think a lot of agents get caught up in here's how the industry works. This is what we're talking about, is like the industry, but there is an art to representing the artist as well, and to know the art keeping your artists on track and making them being the wind under their wings to kind of make them the best that they possibly can be, I think is something that a lot of people don't talk about on that side of it. So, thank you for that refreshing perspective on the whole thing.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll concede that, it's as someone who's growing and learning, which is when I always, like on my first call with artists, I always mention that, hey, we're all growing and learning here. I'm growing and learning here. I'm not perfect, but I know that I'm passionate about this, and this is what I want to do with my life. So I'm going to work as hard as I possibly can to implement what I think can help you best. And, like any person, I've had ups and downs with my own mental health, and I found that to get back into the work that I'm doing has always been I'll find myself at a kava bar locally here, and I'll have my headphones and there's just a bustle around, and I'll be doing my work that, let's say for 2 days I've been yeah, tomorrow. And then I get to it. And when I finally get to it, and then 2 hours later, I get all that work done, and I think about the people I'm working with, the music that they're producing, who they are, and the futures that I know they'll have, and I'm confident they'll have, I feel $1 million. I don't need drugs at that, I'm just wow.
Hell yeah.
I don't need the kava.
Yeah.
Which
yeah, who needs?
I might get in trouble for loitering, but I know the owner pretty well.
I'm sure you'll be all right.
Yeah.
All right, so we want to get into bottom of the Billboard this week. This week was my pick, and this is actually a band that I'd never heard of before. I was doing some work the other day, and I had Spotify, this radio going. That's kind of where I get my listening in these days, is when I'm working. And this artist came up named Couch, a band, and this song called Easy to Love, I believe is what it's called.
Yep.
Came on, and I was like, oh my God, it just took me back. I'm I can appreciate EDM for what it is, but it's never been something I've been super into. And this kind of music here, this is the soul kind of, the modern soul funk kind of vibe. And this stuff is really where my head's kind of lived for the last, year or so. This song, I kind of liken it to, there's a band out of Austin called Mingo Fish Trap that I think is amazing. And there's another band coming out of Brooklyn called Sammy Ray and the Friends. And this band's kind of like an amalgamation of
kidding.
the two.
I know.
And Billy's
keep going. No.
And I don't know, man, like the vocals to me just kind of, this kind of Joni Mitchell-esque, but at the same time a lot more soulful. And that's not disparaging Joni Mitchell, she's one of my favorites of all time, but it's just more existing in the realm of the soul and funk kind of sound. And it's kind of floating and kind of just gliding through the octaves, and I love the atmosphere that creates. Obviously I'm a big fan of cool and interesting chord changes. And
Santana.
Yeah, like Santana. Yeah.
Fucking smooth.
Yeah,
those kind of smooth chord changes.
Some cool minor 2/5s in that one. Anyways, so I just kind of love the whole vibe of this tune, and it moves around a lot. It's got the bridge kind of goes to a completely different vibe, and I love this song. It's a great song.
I didn't hate this song. I really didn't hate it. There's as much as I don't know, Dave Matthews song that you made me listen to, or a couple other tracks, but it's a lot, man. It's just so much happening all the time, and those quick changes and everything like that. They're cool.
I love it. That's what keeps you listening.
It jars you away from me. What's happening?
I love it.
In my opinion, it does sound obviously she's a great singer, without a doubt. The band behind them, really great players, but it just sounds like a super nerdy college band kind of music theory majors band.
That's a wild perspective, because
It's
nothing
not,
about
though.
their stuff seems heady or super nerdy at all. What do you think, Chris? Because I know
It's a lot. I'm just saying it's a lot. Is all I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, it really struck me more pop than like. I mean, maybe in the like realm of Stevie Wonder in the sense that like pop, that there's like some cool stuff happening, but like in a way that kind of really augments what's going on. Like those vocal melodies to me wouldn't pop without like some of the stuff going on under it.
Yeah, exactly.
So like you know, if you took some of that away, you might not get the same.
The horns come in and like these like really random like jarring parts and everything like that. And I get like why you like the cool stuff, because it's like, oh, it's like new stuff happening all the time. It's like explosions, but at the same time, like it never felt like there was a groove to that song. It was just craziness.
What do you think, Noah?
I didn't. Was it in the doc?
Yeah, it's okay. No
Wow,
problem. No, to be fair, I did send it this afternoon, so you didn't have much time.
Hey,
so,
don't worry about it.
I get it.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it was great.
That's what you gotta do.
Part out. Tell us
be
all
an
about
agent right now, dude.
Yeah, be an agent, bro.
Listen,
they're the best.
How would you pitch this band without having ever heard them before? Let's hear it.
If you are like a music theorist, okay,
Yeah.
this is your band.
This is our band,
This is this is a One Direction for music theory aficionados.
There you go, 100%. And I'll have to say, it's not like it's like crazy jazz or like super complicated or anything like that. It's just, I don't know. It never felt like that it took off or whatever. Just lay down a groove and sing over it, and then add stuff into it later. And there's a couple of parts in there where I'm just like, oh yeah, this is what's gonna happen next. And it's just very predictable.
Oh, interesting.
To each their own, though. I just don't really like that kind of. It's like soulful kind of music like that. It just seems it's kind of boring.
You would listen to Four on the Floor, and this is predictable music.
Yeah,
I get where
the minimal house music is like, yeah, this is predictable.
I get what you're trying to say, because you can always say like electronic music is just Four on the Floor, but Noah will even.
No, we're talking about minimal house specifically.
What about it?
Just the predictability of minimal house music, just specifically.
Whatever. At least it grooves, though.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's an interesting perspective.
People like it.
Yeah.
Totally.
I could see them like, I don't know, playing. I don't even want to say it because they might be listening, but I hope they do really well.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it though.
Yeah.
I wasn't just like, oh, turn this shit off. It was good.
What I like about songs like that in that kind of vein is that you can pick out one instrument and you can like there's like a part happening, and you can really hone in on that one thing, and then you can go back and listen to it again and pick out another instrument, and then pick out the vocal, and then pick out the backup vocals, and you can be like, oh man, this song has got like all these. It's multifaceted, and I actually say that it's not as predictable as you might think that it is.
That one part at the end where it was just like, blah, 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 it's going to be really big, and I'm like, it's going to drop, and it's just going to be her singing to herself.
Yeah,
and I was
mean,
like, okay, cool. Really
yeah,
original.
there's no drops in EDM at all. They don't do that at all.
What?
But yeah,
you have no idea what's coming at the end of that thing, though. You know that happens every single time.
It's usually like a halftime kind of thing, or it goes right back in to like the fucking.
No, you need to chime in right here. You have no idea what you're talking about.
I mean, I would agree.
Yeah, me too. Actually,
for the majority of electronic music, it is incredibly predictable, and that's why I think
whatever.
That's why I think it's appealing.
Yeah.
So I would say like. In a modern age, that's more appealing to have something that's predictable.
I think what happened. So Billy and I just historically don't agree on anything when it comes to music, and I think that sometimes, and I'm guilty of it as well. We just like to be contrarian to each other. So things we might like about other music that we actually like, we might disregard as something kind of. Just dismiss it in something else that we just don't typically like, just to see what the other one says. You know what I mean? That's kind of just our relationship in general.
That's beautiful.
If I was trying to date that girl, I'd say it's the best music I've ever heard.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's say that.
So does it make it on our playlist?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like I said, like if I don't want to throw it away in the garbage, you can. I'll give you a couple tracks every now and then.
All right. My next one's gonna be
Dave Matthews the fuck off.
No,
though.
he's coming up next.
I can't wait.
I'm doing another
to just vote him down. Anyways. Makes the playlist. I say that every time.
Yeah.
Well, it's because I'm on a podcast.
Because you're on a podcast.
Which also has a playlist.
Yeah.
A podcast playlist.
Podcast playlist.
On the
PP.
Which, yes.
Yeah, PP.
Which,
big PP.
Big. I love it. Which, by the way, Noah, if you have any artists, I would imagine several of your artists have music out. Send us some links so we can put them on our actual bottom of the bill playlist. We have a real playlist.
We got 2 playlists, yeah,
that we put our featured stuff on.
Sure.
Anyways, we're gonna put a bow on this section. It's making the playlist. Noah, thank you for your contribution on this one. Always much appreciated.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite songs I've heard.
There it is. That's
and like ever.
Yeah, ever. Yes. Okay, I like it. Thank you. Okay, so I want to talk about your work with Capital Sound, right?
Yeah, Capital Sound.
Okay, so you're actively working with this company now.
Yes, sir.
And they're a promotions company, and you're working like you're head of artist relations and the graphic design side of it.
Yeah, what do they actually?
Yeah.
What do they provide in Tallahassee?
So I guess I'll dive in, but so Capital Sound was started by Josh Brother Bear, who I mentioned before.
Right.
He's doing Alchemy now in St. Pete. Prayers out.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
And then it was growing. They were doing shows outdoors at this bar restaurant called Railroad Square Craft House, which is closing sadly. And it was growing. We had a few artists like Mize, which I don't think you would know the name, and Rekno, who have like blown up since then. Rekno was like on the Hula lineup last year. And, you know, it's just basically electronic shows with a festival kind of vibe to them. We have vendors, proper sound, flow performers, visual artists, you know, the whole shebang. So things were really picking up, and the biggest show to that day was happening in May of 2020.
Go figure.
And as everyone can guess, it got canceled, and for about a year and a half there was a plateau, or not a plateau, but just nothing happening. Josh within that time moved to St. Pete. And I went to my friend Steven Van Landingham and talked with him and my friend Brad about starting it back up. Last New Year's, I wasn't a part of the team yet, but they had done a New Year's party to start the company up again. And after that show, I joined up, and actually the reason I didn't do that show was because I was trying to go to Lettuce in St. Pete.
Good move.
And then
great band.
And then that got canceled.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
For a Resurgence.
Great festival, Resurgence.
Yeah, that's a good name. Yeah.
That is a really good name.
Guys, are we locking this in now? Are we putting it on paper? Are we I mean, you could be head of artist relations, Noah. Doesn't pay anything, but it's great exposure.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of exposure. A lot of exposure at Resurgence.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there you go. It took a little while.
Took a minute there. That's a good joke.
The mice in his brain started putting the puzzle pieces together.
Oh my god. I am very slow sometimes. It's okay.
Oh, that's all right.
All right, so continue.
So since then we've done 5 shows. We were having our 6th show Friday, but we moved that to next Saturday because of COVID. Not because of COVID, but because of Ian.
Yeah. What an asshole.
I've gotten so used to saying because of COVID.
Well, he's blowing all the COVID to Florida again.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
Exactly.
Wear a mask if you go outside.
And get vaccinated, kids, before the storm to prepare properly.
Yes. Like Biden said, please prepare yourself. Do not get sand and do not get wood for your windows. No. Get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Please.
Poor guy.
So yeah, we're doing a show next Saturday with MindX, my own artist. We have two local artists, Afant and the Blossom Seed, who are local to Tallahassee playing, and Ikuma, who's out of, I always forget where he's out of, but I'm pretty sure it's Orlando. Don't take my word on that. And Pablo, I'm sorry, because I am bad at that. But yeah, Ikuma played Tipper and Friends this past year, and he's a great guy. So he'll be playing. But basically, yeah, we're trying to get all producers for our shows. And, Tallahassee is not a very musical place anymore.
I know. I just played there at the beginning of the year, and I was just blown away because we used to knock that place out of the park when I was like his age.
Yeah.
It was awesome for EDM.
Yeah. So there's a big dynamic going on in this town where I'll hand out my there's no respect for someone outside of a show handing out flyers for their show. There's no thought wow, this guy seems pretty dedicated. Maybe I should check that out.
No.
I'm sure that's every town, but here it is horrendously bad. And the dynamic is really just strengthened and showed off by the fact that DJ Diesel Shaq comes to town and 2,500 people pay $80 a ticket to go see him. Boo off the openers for the show and say, "We want Shaq, we want Shaq." And, I hand out my flyers, just a young guy, just hey, come out to my show. And it's always, how much is it? And literally, if your show isn't $10 in this town, people are hold on there.
That's a lot of cheeseburgers.
Yeah, I have no money at all.
Right.
So
we're spending it to go see Shaq. That's a problem.
Yeah, exactly. How could you miss Shaq? So yeah, I'm really, really proud of what we've been doing. I do pretty much all of the graphic design for it. Trying to learn video editing for it, but that's a lot of learning.
Yeah.
I do artist relations for it, so
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I house the artists in my house. I have a spare room here. Take care of them before the show.
You handle all the advanced information and stuff also, or is that?
Yeah, contracting, getting riders in, negotiating. I work with the production teams most of the time. I do quite a bit for it. I curate the lineups with, Steven and I negotiate on the lineups, but obviously with a roster of my own, I like to get as many of my own artists on it.
I'm curious what happens if you can't get your whole roster. How many artists do you have under your roster right now?
At the whole, if I include Sounds Organic artists and my entire roster and my other agent Andrew's roster, it's 15.
So what happens if you can't what happens if you gotta pick a handful of your artists? How does that play?
That's obviously when I'm making the roster or the lineups, that's a huge question. Oh my God, should I be getting this person on it or that person? But obviously, like any other promotion company, we have a budget, and we have to curate to the demographic as well.
Right.
Which we already go heavily against the grain on. So, next month in November, we're going to be doing a show at the local planetarium here. So, for me, it's about making an event that people find themselves, really entranced in. so much so that they leave and they're like, okay, whatever they're throwing, I'm going back. And, I want to like shout out Vince, Josh, and Nico in St. Pete, because that's what they've done with Alchemy. A lot of their headlining artists, I'll bring up to people that know quite a bit of EDM, and I'll be like, yo, Brick Squash is coming to town. And it's like, who? What? But it's like within St. Pete, people might not know the name, but they know Alchemy's name, and they know that they put on proper shows that if you don't know the name, well, you'll know the name and you'll start loving that name.
Right.
And that's what we really, really want to do here, because obviously this town has a musical history. After I listened to your podcast, I spoke with Paul, because Paul actually threw shows in Tallahassee.
Really?
Like, starting out. Yeah. So at a club that I think it was Crowbar.
Crowbar? That's Tampa? In Tampa.
No. Then that's why I always get confused. Hold on.
I think it's in Tallahassee. They had the engine and the side.
Engine room. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to play there all the time, too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so Engine Room became GVO, Good Vibes Only.
Uh-oh.
And, well, no, the main area where the bar is was called GVO. And then where I believe Engine Room was became whatever the name is. I cannot think of it now, but it recently shut down. I don't know if there's like some legal thing going on with it. I don't know what's going on. But when I was like researching it, I started reading articles, and it was like, yeah, Paul threw the shows. So, I spoke with him, and excuse me, I'm still coughing quite a bit. I spoke with him about like what to do to build a scene here, because it's obvious that Tallahassee has been musical, and it's pretty sad and disheartening to see it become, like just hey, Shaq's coming to town, like, come on out. I want it to be a place where people say, deep in the future, like, oh yeah, like Mindex, I saw him, like a small local show in college, and I have real faith that like people like Tipper in the future will be similar to what Pink Floyd is today. It's obviously like very different styles. So like I don't want it to come across like very just like band, but the fan base is so similar, and the hype for it is so similar. And obviously other bands will be just as like, holy shit, you saw String Cheese Incident way back? That's crazy. You saw Krungbin way back? No way. Like, that will be a thing, but I really think, like, EDM, as it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, people will start saying, like, you saw Tipper back in the day? Like, you'll see, like, Tipper ? Shirts, like the Grateful Dead shirts of today. Like, people will be like, yeah, I have a vintage Tipper, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, I want to be a person that's curating shows that are bringing up-and-coming artists to Tallahassee, so that people have memories like that. It's not just memories of like, yeah, I didn't know who this artist was, and I just did drugs and blah, blah, blah. No, I want people to be like, it was freaking awesome. Like, it was a smaller show. The vibes were immaculate. And, their grandkids are like, oh my God, no way. Grandma.
Yeah. Besides handing out flowers for DJ Diesel, I love that's his name. It's hilarious. But and of course your festival at the planetarium that you're doing in a month. What else do you think you can do to make that happen?
So right now I'm in the works of building a street team. So that's something I've kind of realized that we've been lacking on as a team is getting people other than me, I can say things so many times to people I don't know, and they can think I'm a lunatic who's just like, come to my show, come to my show. Yeah. But if we can build a street team of people who are like-minded individuals who enjoy the shows, who are, willing to go out there and tell their friends and come out there with me to shows and hand out the flyers as well, I think we can really start building something from a grassroots level and build it up to a point where, if I do leave Tallahassee, which everyone says to me, like, why haven't you left? Why haven't you left? And it's always been like, I want to see, I want to make an impact on this town that had a huge impact on me in a crazy way. I would have never found Ott, like I mentioned earlier, without Emma, the former president of SSDP, if you know what that is here, Students for Sensible Drug Policy.
Interesting, I like that.
Yeah, so it's a offshoot of MAPS. So MAPS?
No. MAPS are mad.
No,
MAPS.
Mothers Against Drunk Driving. It doesn't sound like the same kind of deal.
It's kind of the same thing.
MAPS is like Rick Strassman's, I believe. Don't take my word on it, but I believe that's who runs it. It's like the biggest psychedelic research institute in the country. Oh. So SSDP is like at a college level. It's to educate students on proper safe drug usage, kind of under like the memo of, you're gonna do it, you might as well be safe, so that your parents don't get a call one night that their kid took who knows what.
True.
And so I was treasurer, graphic designer for SSDP for my 4 years in college. And Emma, the president, my sophomore year, I went to Halloween, right? And I remember I was camped in 80 acres, and we went through that entrance. So we're at the patch at the time, and I'm heading towards Spirit Lake, and I run into her, and she's like, where are you going? And I was like, Spirit Lake, I don't know. And she's like, Ott's playing. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, have fun. And she's like, no, like, you're not missing this. And that set like completely changed my entire view of electronic music, along with Tipper's set that year, which I don't remember much of, but I knew I had to keep seeing it. So it's like, this town made a huge impact on me. And I also know that with it being such a college town and having so much of, not so much anymore, but it's growing up more as our football team becomes better and better. As it becomes more of a fraternity and sorority oriented town, you can't even imagine how many outcasts you have that find themselves not knowing what to do. They might go to a kava bar every single day because they have literally nothing else they're interested in doing. So if I can, not that I'm like trying to find them, but if I happen to run into them and they happen to give my show a chance and their lives are potentially changed for the better and they find something that they're interested in, because for me personally, it's not just EDM. Like, I really like a wide variety of music. I would love to get like Krungbin here one day. I would love to get Jungle, Frank Moody, even like, Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats. I'm really into like stoner rock. So it's like, if I could get just shows here that could introduce people to music they might not know, but could fall in love with real quick. And one day I get a message like, hey man, like, I never would have discovered this music. I'm now such a big fan. I had no clue what to do with my life. And now I find myself just inspired to maybe write that music or it was always kind of my goal. Even when I wanted to DJ, I remember saying, I want to be the DJ that's up there, that's inspiring someone like me down here to want to be up there.
Hell yeah.
And now it's just, I just want to be someone that builds something that inspires people to just do anything that they want to do. Because we are becoming more and more of just a phone obsessed, like people are just more and more depressed every single day. And, for instance, like everyone I meet pretty much, or everyone I met for like 3 years, I was like, you got to go to Halloween. You got to go like obsessively. I was like, you got to check it out. Like, it's so awesome. And now I'm like in the crowds and I'm like, there are too many people.
Yeah.
This guy. Yeah. You should have been at Swanee back in the day, kid. I'm telling you, that was the best. When there was like 2,000, 3,000 people there, and for like Aura, you would have loved Aura. I don't know if you ever got to go.
I mean, that's why I go to like Resonate and Tranquility and like the smaller fest. Yeah. Like I even want to go to like a River Jam, even though I don't know the artist, because I love those smaller fests at Swanee, where you feel like you can just run around and no one's around you, and you just feel so free.
But Halloween is ridiculously awesome. Granted, there are a lot of people there, but like that just means the production's even better.
Oh yeah, the totally. Production is so top notch.
You went last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was incredible. I got to play with Greenhouse Lounge there, and it was just like at the Spirit Lake stage. That's where it was at. That whole installation section and everything. That was the best.
It's just absurdly beautiful. Whereas like other festivals, I feel like take plastic and try to turn it into something beautiful.
Yeah.
I feel like Swanee, the park, and Halloween come together perfectly to take a park and like bring out the beauty of its natural aspects, which is like just mind-blowing. I didn't think that would be a thing when I went to Bonnaroo and I'm walking up to a Lay's fucking booth and it's like, here's free Lay's, and I'm like, is this just like a...
Oh no, it's pretty bad.
Like, it just felt like a Spotify that you didn't pay for.
Nope.
Yeah.
Like it's just like music and then ads.
Yeah,
and then
it's
music
very
and then ads.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, I guess that is my life story up to now.
Well,
who knows?
I love what you're trying to do, man, because I have a very
It's
similar
hard,
perspective.
man, what you're doing. Yeah, without a doubt. But yeah, it's awesome to see somebody still, handing out flyers at shows. I haven't had to do that in like 10 years. And like, I'm just like, damn, it's still happening. I'm really happy that you're doing it. It works.
Yeah, the new trick is I have the flyer in my phone and then I just airdrop.
Oh,
yeah.
No, we didn't have that back in the day. I feel so old saying that, but like what we would do is people would just like throw it away or throw it on the ground all the time. So we would just yell "free sex show" and then hand out a flyer, and they'd be like, "What?" And I'm like, "There you go. Hold on to that. That's your ticket in."
The ancient airdrop.
It's so ancient.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like the ancient equivalent of like an airdrop. Instead of like airdropping a flyer, you say "free sex show."
Yeah, that's
just
what
gets
I did.
people just gets it in their hands.
That's I see what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
That's how we used to do
The
it.
ancient airdrop would be you take a helicopter and literally drop.
Yeah.
The fly.
like they did in Germany, kid. Like some propaganda. But I think that's hilarious that you airdrop people flyers at a show. That's amazing.
I mean, it's the easiest access to their phone, and
I love it.
If they have it on, they can deny it or they can accept it. And if they accept it, at least they're seeing it.
Yeah.
And I cannot say confidently that everyone that sees it is like, oh my God, like an EDM show in town.
Woo!
I'm going to go. I'm going to go to this. But I'm I'm at least hopeful that at least one of, let's say, 100, because that's like all that really matters.
Yep.
It's like one of 100 is like, you know what, random, like I'm sure 1 out of 100 is like on something at the show and is like, well, I have my pashmina on and I have my crystal in my left hand. So whatever comes my way is what I need to do right now.
Well, also like if one person gets it and decides they want to go, they're going to bring like a crew of people also. And then like that extended crew of people might bring like some of their extended friends. So it ends up being like, all it takes is like a couple of people to really start getting like the word out. And then, if your first couple of shows are, which I'm obviously you're beyond that now, but it's just people that are coming up that are trying to figure the thing out. If your first couple of shows are a failure, which they're going to be, at least you just starts to kind of get the ball rolling, and that's a very, that approach of, airdropping is just like, like the word of mouth is still the best way, given all the technology and all the social media stuff. Like the concept or the mentality behind the word of mouth is still the thing, whether it's like a flyer on your phone or whether it's people posting on their individual accounts about something happening. The idea is that people still make the thing happen,
Yeah, sadly, I think a lot of people think that now that we have social and now that you can buy Instagram and Facebook ads, that people see these ads and they're like, oh my God, I'm gonna go to this.
Yeah.
But the reality is it's just like swipe.
Yep.
So I think you'll see that within the next few years, ideas like this will come back, because if you can have a genuine human connection with someone and explain exactly what you're putting out, then they might be interested. Because I don't have it directly on me, but I could show you the flyer for our next show. It has the date, it has the time, but, like, basically you need, like, EDM show.
just a flyer. It's just
like,
Times New Roman.
I'm not doing, like, I'm not doing that.
No.
But, like, realistically, that's what, like, our brains have, like, progressed to. It's like, well, what is that?
What we always did was literally we would play the show, but if you came to the show, great, but it's the after party that you have to come to. I'm dead serious. And it worked in your 20s, which is what you are. Is like that worked all the time. That's where you get like really connected to people and meet people and everything like that. And they're going to show up next time because they know it's a party. But
that's one aspect for sure.
It is.
I think that there's another way to do it also.
No, yeah, without a doubt.
Because I also think that kind of like that way of thinking about it has a lifespan, and then there's
because you think about it as always being a party, but it's at that after party or whatever, it's making connections,
totally,
and stuff like that, and
totally.
that, like you're saying, that connection, that human experience with one another, that's how you get real fans.
That's another thing I've been doing, like for the DJ Diesel show. I was out there. I made a flyer that day to throw an after party for that show. Not really, I didn't go to the show. And I wasn't going to play similar music. Like, there's no doubt. But for me, it was like, hey, if I can go airdrop the flyer to people, they want to show up, they show up, and they happen to like the music, okay, then they know, okay, I like this music. I go up to them, hey, there's this show. Oh, okay, I like this music. I'll go to this show.
Yeah. That works big time. Like that kind of after part. What Billy's talking about, I think, is more of like the hang after the show.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But I'm telling you, that's what.
That's where connections are made.
Yeah, for sure.
I know you didn't go. You weren't invited to a lot of parties.
No.
And that's okay. That's totally okay. You're a late bloomer. Without a doubt. I'm tired of partying, so I don't do that anymore. I went to too many. I threw too many.
No, I understand the
my home buddy.
The hanging out aspect and definitely making the connection with people.
Yeah.
I think that also there's got to be the emphasis on the substance of what you're putting out.
Oh,
there
without
too,
a doubt.
You know?
Yeah, you can't.
That's got to come first, I think. You know?
I mean, there's a reason why the Grateful Dead family is called the family, though.
Yeah, totally. You got to have it all.
That's all I'm trying to say.
I think there are more reasons to that.
Nah.
Yeah,
No, they're not. Wait, they're related? I didn't know that. No, I'm kidding.
No.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, that's a wild scene. But Noah, it's been awesome talking to you about all this stuff, man.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
guys,
man.
for having me on.
Absolutely.
And I hope I can come on again soon. I didn't know if I'd like being on a podcast because I've never been on one.
Yeah.
It's been really fun.
Hell yeah, man.
And the pre-talks that everyone who's listening didn't hear were even more fun.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, man. I love your perspective on all of it, whether it be the promotion side or whether it be the artist relations side or the representation side. I think you have your finger on the pulse as far as what the job description is in every angle from it. So I'm excited to see what you do, and you'll always have support here with us for sure.
Yeah, a good guy agent.
Thank you guys so much.
Totally.
You don't see that very much.
Totally.
A good guy agent that cares about you and not your numbers.
100%.
Well, I mean, I only care about TikTok following.
Well, then you'll love what we're doing here at Bottom of the Bill.
Oh yeah, you guys,
we're crushing the game. I don't know if
we nailed it. We totally meant to do that. We knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you'd like to know our formula, you can pay us.
Yeah, we'll give you a top 5 rundown on what to do with your social media.
No
accounts.
fucking clue how that happened. Yeah. It just happened, but whatever.
So we should do a bottom line news.
Bottom line news. Start talking, you asshole.
Nailed it. Though. I was just admiring the sound that you're making. We got bottom line news. We got all the top information coming at you from the music industry. Yeah. I'm terrible with improving like that. Sorry, guys.
But you're great at soloing.
Yeah, I am a good soloist, actually, I will say. So the article that we picked up today was, let me just pull this up real quick.
It's about Paramore, the band.
It is about Paramore, the band, and how they're fighting ticket scalpers and all that stuff, which is kind of cool.
Good fight.
So basically what it's saying is, I don't fully understand this article, to be honest with you. Like, there's a couple of things here.
I don't need it.
You don't need it? Okay.
I mean, you can reference it for me in case I misspeak.
Yeah.
But basically it's this, that Paramore, they came back for the first time in, I think, 5 or 6 years. Mm-hmm. And they were huge. Obviously, there's a huge resurgence of emo music. And they're emo for sure, but like they're exactly that. But I'm saying like they're like way better in my opinion.
Yeah, they're more like a pop band.
Emo music is awesome as well though. But the whole point is they sold out everywhere, and it got to the point where they were like, well, we're gonna play LA and add some more shows to the end of their tour, and they're like, we're tired of all these scalpers buying all these tickets. I got robbed a ticket because I was trying to buy one for my girlfriend, and they were gonna go for $50, and then like that they're sold out, and now they're $300, and there's like 300 or 400 of them.
Yeah.
Fuck you, scalpers. Anybody who has this ticket and that's selling for that, like, go fuck yourself, seriously. But what she's doing now is she's making, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say she. Paramore is making every ticket that will allow you to come in. You have to get this also certain, like, app or something. I don't know exactly what it is.
It's through Ticketmaster and Live Nation.
It is through Ticketmaster and Live Nation. So and again, like Ticketmaster is the devil as well. But well, it is. Come on.
I disagree.
Okay, well, you're the only musician who thinks that. But they are. They're getting. The only way they're going to be able to get to the show is if you buy this special pass that you can only get from Ticketmaster. You can't get from a reseller, from a scalper.
Right.
So it's hindering scalpers from existing, basically.
I'm curious, does it allow the artist to kind of like double dip, though?
I can see how that's a thing.
I'm not even mad about that.
No, without a doubt, you could definitely do that, but then you're a dickhead. Like, here's the question: where does that money go?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Ticketmaster.
Well,
I guarantee you, at least 80% goes
Yeah,
to Ticketmaster.
100%.
I'm sure they're taking their cut of it, but they also came up with
Ticketmaster sucks. What are you talking about, man?
Stop. There's a whole thing we can go into if you want.
Sure.
But Louis C.K. is a great story about his dealings with Ticketmaster.
Yeah, he doesn't use them.
No, only because of it doesn't matter. So, anyways, I think Ticketmaster definitely takes their cut. I'm sure they split something with the artists as well. But if they're creating like if they're giving it the platform or creating the atmosphere where that kind of dichotomy can exist, where scalpers can't charge extra, then why shouldn't they?
No, yeah, I'm totally on the side with this.
People are reselling through the platform,
but people are getting a little bit mad because they've already bought the tickets through Ticketmaster at one price, and now Paramore is adding on that little special thing, so they have to pay for more of it. They should get rid of that.
Yeah,
you should be able to somehow. I don't know. They're not NFTs. Tickets aren't, but. Now that I thought about it, they probably could be.
What is the thing that they're kind of adding on? It's
some sort of way to tell whether or not you bought this from Ticketmaster or if you bought this off of a scalper. And if you bought it off of a scalper, they're not letting you in unless you have that extra little thing that you purchase. I'm not sure how much it was.
Yeah, they don't say how much it is.
But
on here.
Well, what if you buy normal resale from like anybody? Like, what if I bought a ticket? I was like, hey, you want a ticket?
The transaction has to be done through Ticketmaster. So there's a
Oh,
bunch of information attached to the ticket, and then you'll go into ticket. I had to do this recently with a show where a friend of mine bought tickets. My girlfriend works at the UNF at the Florida Theater here, and she was offered free tickets to a show. But in order for her to get the tickets, she had to go in to Ticketmaster and change all of the information on the ticket, and then there had to be like a proof of purchase, even though she didn't have to purchase them. There's still a proof of purchase from the original purchaser, so that way you could at least like show that you purchased it from the purchaser and your name is attached to it through Ticketmaster.
Yeah,
it's a whole thing.
The more that I think about it, though, it seems like it's just like an extra step that it doesn't matter.
It does, because you can't sell it more from than what the designated resale value is.
Why not, though?
Because
what if you buy it and you get that proof of purchase from Ticketmaster and then you just sell it for $300? Like I don't understand the whole article in itself, how it's supposed to stop anything. Unless that proof of purchase is like $1,000 or something that you get back at the end or something. I don't know.
That's why it needs to move toward NFTs.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, because if each attendee of an event has to just build, let's say Ticketmaster does it, which I hope they don't. I hope someone just completely beats them out to this, but I'm sure they're working on it. Let's say each person has to create an individual wallet. When they get a ticket, they get an NFT, so it's in the blockchain and it's only in your wallet. And like you would have to transfer it to someone else's wallet. So then you have like security there. And then also, similar to some things we discussed, let's say I go to Halloween. Let's say they do a Halloween one. Who's to say that NFT won't rise in price?
Right.
Like,
there's
after the event, you're going to be like, hey, I have the NFT, the 2023 NFT Halloween ticket for like, I got it for $200, and it still keeps that value because, like someone in the future might want to say like, here's my, it's like if someone had a Woodstock NFT ticket, they would want to, they're worth money. So
yeah, I think it's definitely moving in that direction. It's already kind of functioning in the same capacity right now, where the ticket has all this information attached to it that's unique to it alone.
It has to come down to this. Either you get a refund from the ticket and then they sell it to another person, or like you have to be in person to buy it. Like that's it, and you can only buy one at a time.
Yeah.
Because imagine if they did this. I was just thinking about this right now. What if like some crazy evil millionaire or whatever like that, probably billionaire at this point, because millionaires don't get shit done. But I was gonna say buys like all of the plane tickets in America for Thanksgiving weekend. Like just has that kind of walking around money. and then it's like it's double now.
Well, I think
that's insane. You can't do that because it's in your name and you have to show your stuff. You can't sell an airplane ticket.
Right, but I think that Ticketmaster and the artists are working together to kind of limit what the resale value is of those tickets.
But it's in such bad business for Ticketmaster to do that.
Why?
Because why does it matter to them? They want them to sell out as soon as possible. So
don't they own StubHub?
Yeah,
which is. So they're already doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
And they don't care at all. StubHub.
Ticketmaster could be the scalper at this point. You have no idea.
I think it's kind of.
I bet they are.
I think it's kind of kind of.
The devil,
I think it's
dude.
inconsequential to them. I think that the artist is like, well, why are our fans having to pay triple the amount to come and see us play?
Exactly.
So the artist is like, hey, Ticketmaster, can you strike a deal here? And Ticketmaster's like, yeah, it makes no difference to us. If someone buys a ticket and scalps it for $300, we see none of that profit. Why not just mitigate that and just say, hey, we're going to go ahead and do it through our system. So if you want to resell it, you have to literally do it through our system, and you can't resell it for any more than this amount. And Ticketmaster's like, and we can make an extra cut off of that, and the artist makes more money off of it. It's a win-win for everybody. I don't see why it's a problem.
No, it's a win for Ticketmaster
and for the artist.
And then somehow it will be a lose for the artist.
Why?
And
why do you think that?
Because
at
the end of the day, they've been doing this. They've been running ticket sales, and they've allowed scalpers to persist. Tipper does a similar thing working with Ticketmaster, like Tipper's team, where you, as a fan, sign up for a fan email.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, then you get a code that you have to have, like, per person, you get one code, and that code can only gain you entry to get like 2 tickets.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like there are ways to do it.
They do that with a lot of Spotify artists. Like that's how I got my Thundercat ticket so early and everything like that before it sold out.
They're just trying to make it so you have to pay extra to them for security, which they should already be offering. And
because it sounds like it's definitely an artist initiative, though. I'm sure Ticketmaster didn't care either way. But the artist approached them and was like, hey, let's strike a deal to help our fans out. And Ticketmaster's like, yeah, as long as we can still make money on the back end. Because otherwise, we're cutting into our
what happened.
Okay, but it's still a win. I actually see it as we can all agree, disagree here, but I see it as a win-win for everybody.
No, yeah, of course. Yeah, the artist does win, and then Ticketmaster does win.
And then we win, too, because we don't have to pay triple the amount to go see our artist.
But
like Michael Scott, it's a win-win-win.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I would just argue that we should already be granted that security somehow through their system. And they have proven time and time again that they don't actually care about that by being the owner of StubHub. And I could be wrong. Sorry, Ticketmaster, if I'm wrong. But if I'm right that they own StubHub, they've allowed this to persist. They have no limiting. They have no limiting. And I told someone about 2 weeks ago that my biggest nightmare is the day when Disney buys out Ticketmaster. Yeah. And then they own every single form of entertainment in the world.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely going to happen.
Yeah, at some point.
And then you just have your magic band and your fingerprint to go see a show. You have to go tap in and thumbprint in to get into the show. And I think that, please, I'm praying that Disney, like no Disney exec listens to your podcast because
they're always
this is a nightmare.
Bro,
I know.
If you think this conversation is not already happening, then you know what I mean? The thing is that Live Nation has already, who owns Ticketmaster, and then Ticketmaster subsequently owns StubHub and all that. Live Nation is already buying out venues, right? So that they can.
They own every
They
venue.
own all the venues that you want to play at in every major city.
Yep.
They own them, so they're keeping it all in house. If you think that they're not thinking about the next step, where obviously Disney and all that's going to get, I mean, it's already. If you just brought it up right now, they've been talking about it for probably a couple of years already. It's probably been on the table for a while.
Yeah, definitely the chip in your skin situation. Yeah, they've been talking about that since dawn of time.
But anyways, I think that was a great article. That was actually Billy's pick this week. That was a great article.
And honestly, because I'm fucking pissed that I don't get to see Paramore, and the tickets were like $40 at St. Augustine.
Yeah.
So cool. Now they're $300 a pop.
Yeah, it's kind of lame.
Maybe I'll go see them.
All right, so we'll put a bow on that section now, and
Quit saying that. That's
well,
weird.
I gotta let Jason know that we're ending the segments.
Oh my god.
And then so unpopular opinions now.
Yeah.
So this can be about whatever you want. Literally,
Okay,
it can be music related, non-music related. But we'll do Billy first, me, and then we'll save you for last.
I'm at the bottom of the barrel. I didn't say Bill, but bottom of the barrel, coming up with opinions because I've had so many of them at this point. But this one I like this a lot. Harry Potter is Christmas.
Harry Potter is Christmas.
Harry Potter is Christmas.
I don't get it.
Everything about Harry Potter, it's just Christmas. It's definitely not Halloween though.
Oh, okay. I don't know what that means.
Come on.
Where's
your
Harry
yes
Potter.
and? Where's your improv or anything like that? You're just like, I don't know.
Well, I didn't watch Harry Potter. I didn't read the books either.
Oh, you weren't allowed as a kid? Me neither.
No,
I wasn't either. I still did though.
Just didn't care about. I'm not a big fantasy guy. Okay, so what? So
no, what's yours?
How is that unpopular? Like,
yeah, what about it?
Who would argue that that's unpopular?
You're just the worst.
Yeah.
You're just so bad at this.
What I mean, I don't know what you're trying to say.
I'm trying to say that like when you think of Harry Potter, it's like, like Halloween because it's all witches and wizards and stuff, but it's not. It's Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you elaborate?
Every single Harry Potter book and movie has Christmas in it. It snows all the time. It's always Christmas time in every one of those movies. So Harry Potter, I guess what I should say is Harry Potter is a Christmas movie.
Oh, okay.
Does that help your brain?
I mean, they play it at Christmas time every single year.
That's what I'm saying. Harry Potter's, and I'm just trying to say Harry Potter.
So therefore, it's popular opinion.
Thank you.
Oh, so it's a popular opinion.
No, because a lot of people would be like, no, it's not Christmas. It's Harry Potter. It's like, at least it's Halloween. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all the blowback I get all the time.
Noah says that they play it every Christmas, which means that
they play it nonstop. Harry Potter is everything.
They don't play it at Halloween. I
don't believe
it's
that.
It's like, I'm pretty confident. Okay. But yeah.
No, I love this though. Hold on.
Shit.
Chris pulled it up on our end here. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so
it's if you can't see, Noah, it says while none of the Harry Potter movies is technically considered a Christmas film, there are so many loyal fans who throw them on whenever the holidays come around.
Okay, so it's literally a popular opinion.
Yeah, about 55.5 million.
Yeah, that's a pretty popular
Look, I don't look up my opinions if they're unpopular.
Well, you know what? I'm just thankful that you had an opinion this time. A lot of times, Billy just denies facts, and then that's what his opinion is, and that doesn't. I mean, it bodes well. It's always entertaining, but it's not an unpopular opinion.
Yeah, but you just like laid there like my ex-girlfriend, bro.
I'm sorry that I didn't pick up on the yes and. That was my bad.
Go. Yeah, God forbid.
You're right. I'm still working on my improv, guys.
Flailing in the water, and you would not lend a hand.
I didn't know what you were trying to say. That was my bad.
Phil Collins.
So okay, my next my unpopular opinion is that I don't think that anybody actually knows how to play pinball.
Tommy does.
Yes, he's the pinball wizard.
That's it.
Yeah, but he was deaf, dumb, and blind. So
yeah, he still played a mean pinball.
There's a yes and kids we're talking about.
That's because improv king over here.
Yeah, you are. You're very good at that. You're quick. I'm not.
I was just I can't think of anybody who's good at pinball. So you might be right too.
What do you think?
Two popular opinions.
There are definitely pinball players out there.
Yes, but I don't think they actually know what they're doing. I think that they just get lucky and they're just mashing buttons, and it's just like, you know what I mean? They're getting high scores.
I think people that can like really slow down their vision and can like, I don't know, like understand the physics of what's going on with the pinball could know what they're doing, but I have no clue what I'm doing. I just hit it.
Yeah, I'm a button masher through and through. Unless we're playing like, I don't know, Mortal Kombat, like back on Sega Genesis or something. I'm just or Smash Brothers because I will fucking take you, bro. I swear to God.
Dude, let's play again.
We're gonna fucking do it.
I'll watch you lose
play Smash Bros at all? No, have you played it all?
No, but when I do, I just like tap.
Are you a button masher on that too?
Yeah.
So
I'm
is
horrible.
Anton.
No, I'm. Oh my god, it's so frustrating. I will set the N64 up right now. We'll do it
Here's
on
a
the
good
air.
unpopular opinion. Anton's great at Super Smash Brothers.
That's literally just another denial of facts. I'm no. It's true. I am really good at the game. It's a fact. But either way, yeah, I think that no one actually knows how to play pinball, and that's my thing.
Man, these opinions are just hitting out of the park on this episode.
I mean, you know.
I'm sorry.
I'm trying to think of
What
one
you got,
now.
Noah? I mean, can anyone debate that? Chris, do you know how to play pinball?
What's pinball?
Exactly.
Isn't the pinball museum in Asheville, like, didn't they invent it in North Carolina?
Yeah,
I
those
think
guys didn't know what the fuck they were doing either.
You're
And you
thinking
know
of
what?
the- well, okay. Go
Well, no, go ahead,
It's
Chris.
the Moog Museum.
There's also a pinball museum, too.
Okay.
I promise you there is.
Yeah, well,
Great.
what do you got, Noah?
You know, I had one. Oh, I guess. All right. I mean, it's pretty basic and it's music related.
I swear to God, if you say the Beatles are overrated, you'll be the 5th person to have said that, and it's becoming more popular.
No.
Let the man
Okay,
talk.
sorry, I just had to say that.
No, so I guess it's so niche, so I really don't want to bring it up, but I think that psytrance should become popular in the U.S. I don't know if either of you are into psytrance.
I don't know. What's the most famous psytrance?
Oh wow, you stumped Billy on
Artist.
electronic music. That's great.
I can't even say I would know who the. Oh, I guess. What's there? Hold on.
In my mind, I'm like, Spangle? Do you mean Spangle is psytrance?
Spangle makes psytrance, but there's
Yeah.
one
All right.
that's
Boom. Suck it.
infected mushroom.
Infected
Oh, I know who they
mushroom
are. Yeah,
is
I know.
fucking awesome
Yeah.
as shit, dude. What do you mean?
So
They're
I
not.
think-
Oh yeah, I guess they're not big in America.
No, it's not big here.
They're from Spain,
Dr-
right?
Uh,
Something like that. They got a lot of
let's
Spanish
see.
lyrics in their music.
I'm on Spotify right now.
But anyways, yeah,
Israel.
Israel. Oh
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, it's really popular in Israel.
Okay.
But yeah, like drum and bass took a while to like become popular here, and you know, if you go to Ultra and like some of the more mainstream, like you'll see Infected Mushroom and whatnot. But when you're talking about like dedicated fan bases in the US for EDM, nobody dives into this. It's like really just only in Europe, and I think it's really, really good and psychedelic and takes you on a journey. So, yeah, that's my unpopular opinion. But I wish I had a better one. Like
So do all of us, I guess.
I think I have one. Like I feel like most of mine would be insulting to someone out there.
That's the
But
point.
I feel like, yeah, but like I don't want to get on the wrong side of some people.
Don't worry.
But yeah, or I guess EDC isn't that good of an EDM festival.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
Is it like I remember when they were? I don't know if it's still there, but it's just in a parking lot, right?
Yeah, it's just on the side of the Camping World Stadium in
Yeah.
Orlando.
Like fuck that.
Nice.
That's not like festival, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been before, so I mean, I don't know, but
What you got?
Rap festivals are some of the like stupidest things you could ever go to in your life.
I've never been to a
Like-
hip hop festival, but
You didn't go to Orange Crush last year?
I'm not a big fan of. I'm a huge hip hop fan, but I'm not a big fan of like live rappers. To me, the music doesn't translate as well. And I know it's kind of like contrary to where like the whole art came from. It's emceeing, and it's like the whole thing is about live performance and everything. But to me, it like I'm somebody who's very into lyrics, like a lot of conscious hip hop, and I feel like a lot of that gets lost in translation. And then as far as like in a live setting anyways, but then there's like the festivals that happen where it's a lot of like pop rappers and that kind of thing. Yeah, and that to me, a lot of stuff is just hot garbage in general. So
Yeah, like Rolling Loud is literally
Yeah.
just like tracks playing, and it's like, oh, yeah.
yeah,
It's a lot of hype.
it's the whole thing. It's MC.
Yeah, but what's
right?
the
It's like-
point? Like, just go listen at home at that rate.
yeah, I agree. I agree.
I did see Macklemore at Camp Bisco of all places. It was when he did the thrift store song or whatever.
Yeah.
And he had
Can we go thrift shopping?
He had the weirdest hype man. He had 2 hype men. One of them was wearing this blue suit and was like that was a normal hype man, as on the mic or whatever. But this other guy was this really skinny dude and like a white overalls or whatever, and was just hitting this crash cymbal on a stick all the time.
Really?
That was the.
Was it Ryan Lewis?
I don't know.
His producer, maybe?
I don't know.
Probably.
Wow. I'll do the research and message you.
But I just thought that was a weird show, and it was at like 3:00 in the afternoon. It just didn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, he has some good stuff though, for sure.
Yeah.
No, he really does. I watched the video on his entire history musically. You don't really notice how many bangers he put out, and his rapping skills are pretty great. He has a video on KEXP right now that is like, wow, you're really talented.
Go with that. Macklemore is really great. That's your unpopular opinion.
Oh my god.
There we go. There we go. I have 4.
That is.
Okay, all right, it averaged out. All right, what do you got?
Before we go, by the way, I want to apologize to who edits it.
Chris.
To Chris.
Primarily.
Chris.
Hey, man.
For my cat who has been like rubbing his face on my desk to get food, and meowing to get food, and also for the fact that I'm sick, so I'm sure I'm not breathing the quietest.
I will say we've had much louder interruptions.
Yeah.
So, so you're doing
This is
great,
actually pretty
man.
good.
You're
Yeah.
doing great. This is not bad at all.
I actually didn't notice any interruptions at all.
No,
I didn't
not
hear
at
a
all.
cat at all or anything. So.
Whatever. If you're a fan of cats, then you'll love Bottom of the Bill.
Yeah.
Specifically this episode.
We'll fix
Yeah,
it
raise the volume of the cat, please.
Yeah.
Cat ASMR.
Yeah. Noah, thanks for coming on, man. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude.
Thank you so much, guys.
Can't
It's
wait
been
to
a
meet
blast.
you, man. Let us know when you're in Jax, dude.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I should be. I'll plan a trip and I'll let you guys know.
All right,
Please
man.
do. All right, man. Well, good luck with
Adios.
anything. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. Peace.
Peace, man.
Adios, muchachos.